Hey man, you looking good over there, boy. Good to see you, Lauren. All you cats.
Good to see you too.
Good
Uh-oh.
evening, sir.
We are live. We are live. What's up, everybody? What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? What's going on world? This is A.L. Johnson, president of Elevating Men. We have not seen you guys in a little while, and so I'm very excited to share what we've been doing while we've been on hiatus from our Monday night show. Before we get into that, I definitely want to give my brothers an opportunity to say hello. And the little lady back there, too. What's going on, little Miss Barnes? So, to my right, I've got Mr. LaRon Barnes. He's our resident motivational speaker. Mr. Barnes, how have you been?
Listen, I've been doing amazingly well. When I say so many great things are happening right now, great things are happening. So I'm excited about our conversation today.
Perfect. Next to him, we've got Mr. Dalen Burney from the Men's Wellness Collective. How are you?
Doing great.
Awesome. Awesome. And below him, Jordan Lewis, also from the Men's Wellness Collective. How are you, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to having a conversation. It's nice to see everybody. It's been a minute.
Definitely. Definitely. Lojo, I ain't gonna call him the car pro. I'm gonna call him the all pro because he does so many things. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, y'all, man? I missed y'all, man. You look so beautiful. LaRon, let me borrow your shirt next week, baby.
And the fittest pastor on the planet, Mike
On
Patton.
the
How you
planet.
doing?
Hey man, I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm so happy and so honored to be around such astute brothers here that articulate life in such a way that just stirs me up and makes it happen in my life. And I'm so happy to be here. Such an honor and a privilege. And I want to thank you all for that opportunity to be here just one more time.
One more time, one more time. That's what it's all about. For those of you that are just coming in, make sure you share this with your network. We're going to have a great conversation about motivation and reaching your goals in life. How many times do we set a goal, whether it's the New Year's resolution, whether it's, hey, it's my birthday, and by the time I reach this next age, I'm going to accomplish all these goals. And then we reach that next milestone and we're still stuck in the exact same place. So that's what we're going to be talking about. How do you get past being stuck? How do you set a goal and actually stick to it? And so I've got several phone calls, text messages, even a couple emails like, hey, where have you guys been? Where is Elevating Men? Did you guys stop? Are you not doing anything anymore? That couldn't be further from the truth. Shout out to Lauren Jones. He said, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay. Yeah, we've had a couple birthdays since the last time we were on. So myself and my brother Lojo, we both hit the big 4-0 milestone birthdays.
Wow.
Wow.
Happy belated, y'all. That's major.
Yeah.
How did we not? We
Congrats.
gotta send you a cake or something.
Oh man, I gotta send
Or a
you
protein bar for AL. He
a
looks good
candle,
on.
a 40.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it. But no, so over the last 30 days, for the month of May, we did something called the 30-day test. And so what we're going to do is just kind of tell you what that's all about. We're going to be doing another one. And so we want to invite any men that fall under our voice to join us in this next challenge. And we're going to tell you a little bit about our results, share some success, share some excitement, and hopefully bring a few other guys on board. Again, if you're just now tuning in, make sure you share this with your network. Before we get into the conversation, there's a couple things that I have to touch on. And so first off, we want to say thank you to Pastor Michael Brooks at the Oasis Church. We had our Man Cave prayer breakfast this past Saturday. It was amazing. It was amazing. We talked about hidden fears that men have, how to tell the difference between friends and associates. LaRon brought a great message. He led the conversation, and there was a lot of networking afterwards. And so there's going to be some really exciting things going forward as it relates to the Man Cave prayer breakfast, which we hold every second Saturday of the month. So be looking out for our next one in July because we'd love to see you there. So LaRon, I'm going to start with you. And before I break down the 30-day test, I want you to just share with us a little bit on the first call that we had when we just really broke down why we're doing the 30-day test, what it's all about. There were some things that you felt very strongly, and you don't have to share that specifically here on live, but share with us about the 30-day test when we first introduced it. What were your thoughts? And then in going through the process, how do you feel it affected you?
Well, first, the reason why I went through the 30-day test is because I knew that I needed someone to hold me accountable, because I know that I had follow through issues. I know that the only way that we're going to grow is if we have somebody that we're holding ourselves accountable to. And so that was the mindset I went. I needed somebody to hold me up and help me through this process, because most of the time we go through a process on our own, trying to figure it out on our own, but we need someone around us that can see beyond what we can see. And going through this 30-day challenge actually allowed me to see things I didn't see, which really helped me. But I don't know if you want me to go too deep in that right now, brother, but that was the reason for me jumping into this challenge. And I'm telling you, it was transformational.
Awesome. I'm gonna move to Lojo. What were your thoughts about the 30-day challenge? Like, why should other men be considering something like this, and what did it do for you?
Well, I think I was very clear that one goal gave me total anxiety. Just stick to one thing. It was like, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that. And a lot of it was because I'm accustomed to balancing different things. But for me, like LaRon alluded to, I mean, it was transformational, just to be able to dive deep into one thing, to find where there's kinks in your armor and just know how to really focus in so you can kind of close those gaps, and then just having that accountability partner just to be like, hey, how's everything going? Jordan was my accountability partner, and yeah, conversations for hours, just really, conversing back and forth and just understanding different things about me that I didn't understand, that, talking to Jordan and seeing it through his lens helped me see it through the lens of my children, which reverberated back to me. And so it was very, very eye-opening. At the end of the day, hey, look, do it. Do it once. It's hard, but it is so worthwhile, because what you learn about yourself is truly transformational.
Thanks for sharing. I'm going to come to the Men's Wellness Collective, but I'm coming to you guys for a specific reason, because you have a unique perspective because of your field of study. And so, Mike, the 30-day test, tell us about it. How was it for you?
Well, it opened up a book. Here's a long word for you. It's called Transcendental Meditation. What is it and how to do it? And what I did is I had fallen into a point of something I was not used to doing, and I tried to find out how to do it. And one of the problems for me when it comes to things like that, I got to have somebody to push me like a coach pushes someone on the team. And I found out that I started off right, but I kind of slid it off to the side because I didn't know what it was so far as writing in this book. I knew what I wanted to do, but what is it that I'm trying to get across? And Brother Andrew had shared with me some things in reading it that I needed to pay more attention to, and that helped. But how do I do it? And I need that push. I need that drive. I'm so used to the gym mentality and the coach mentality. That's what stimulates me. That's what motivates me. And so I fell short because I lost interest, because now I did not answer what is it and how to do it. And so I started off good, but there was the cartoons, I hit this screeching point. And so I got to revitalize my mind, and I got to talk to people that could talk and lift me up. So I'm just trying hard to do something that I just haven't done, and so that's how I see it. It's a transcendental meditation. How do I find myself into that place where I can do and finish what I set out? Or is it something that I should not do? I don't take no for an answer. And so I take challenges. So I'm going to keep on pushing.
Awesome. And, with the 30-day test, it's really not it's about hitting your goal, but it's about that process. It's about the process, the mental process, the times where you feel like you want to give up or switch your focus to something else, really training your mind to be able to hone in on one thing and continue going. And so as long as you keep going, you accomplished your goal during the 30-day test, because that's what it's all about. Jordan, bro, I haven't seen you in a while, man. I'm curious to hear. I know you and Lojo were accountability partners through this. What are your thoughts about the 30-day test?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you said the word process because I went into it feeling very dead set on making sure that I stayed focused on the goal that I set out to achieve. Um, and what I found, and Lauren talked about this in his spiel. Um, what I found that was most enjoyable about the process was the relationship, where the discussions, where the accountability partners are having discussions with one another, and what you learned and what I learned from those discussions about him, and as he spoke to this about myself, really for me became like the best part of the process for me. Um, now my personal goal was presence, so I had some specific things that I was doing, at home and whatnot to try and really hone in on being more present, limiting phone time, not sleeping with the phone in the bedroom, things of that nature. But I feel as if what really helped me to achieve that focus was just those conversations, where in the course of the day you get busy with things. But when he reaches out or I reach out, say, hey man, let's hop on the phone, check in with one another. You had to decide and choose to be present for those moments. And because of that, I think we were able to, you know, uh, really learn some good things and extract some really meaningful takeaways from those conversations. So that was my favorite part. It was a pleasant surprise that I didn't really expect, but it was really, really beneficial for me.
Love it. Appreciate you sharing, man. Appreciate you sharing. Dalen, before you say anything, bro, congratulations. Congratulations. Can you share your win with the world? Let us know
Yeah.
what happened.
I finished my master's degree for counseling, so I am now officially out of school and like a licensed person, and I started my practice. So it's
Go up a little bit louder.
yeah, it's been kind of 4 years like in the making of like to get to this point. So it's like I just got past like the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life. So yeah, I think it's a really big deal. I'm really excited.
Definitely. Congratulations. So share with us, what are your thoughts about the 30-day test?
Yeah, I love just kind of the idea of just focusing on like one thing to do, because in my mind, I think anytime I want to try to make a change, I think of like it's just forever. And it's like I have to do this thing every day. And like the idea of doing it, I think past 30 days is too hard for me. So the idea that there's kind of a limit on it, it's like I only have to do it for, 30 days or a week, or sometimes it's just today. I just need to get through this goal today. And after that doesn't matter because I can do this for this shorter period of time. So it kind of allowed me to, I don't know, have a little bit more self-control and like push myself past, I don't know, that burnout I guess I would normally get of trying to just do something forever, of making that change of, working out, eating better, whatever that thing is that you've always wanted to do. It's like, just do it for 30 days. Like you can change anything just by sheer will kind of for that. So I like kind of the limit on it. It really helped me.
Love it. Yeah, because it's like when you can kind of see that finish line,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier to focus versus it being this indefinite time frame. And so I
Yeah.
completely understand that. I want to give a quick shout out to Andrew Boykin. He couldn't join us today. He's a little bit under the weather. But if you're on Facebook, he goes under Dinner and Dialogue. And so I actually want to touch on something really quick. So when I was thinking about the 30-day test, I'll be honest with you, that original thought, of course, is not mine. There's nothing new under the sun. But Dinner and Dialogue was similar to Elevating Men in the fact that there were conversations that were had, right? He would rent out a place. He would have men come in. They would have open conversations in front of an audience. It was like Elevating Men live, to put you in the mind frame of it. And at some point, he stopped doing it. Now, this is well before we had met. And I always say that Andrew is kind of like the older brother that I never had. We have the same name, same middle name. We're both juniors. We're exactly 20 years apart. A bunch of similarities. It's kind of crazy. But when I started Elevating Men, I had no idea about Dinner and Dialogue and what he had done in the past. And so he's always been a person in the background kind of pushing and encouraging the movement. Well, I asked him one day, I said, Andrew, why did you stop doing Dinner and Dialogue? It sounds like it was really taking off. I remember he showing me pictures and forms that people had filled out, and it was going well. But he said, I got tired of talking. right? He was like, I just got tired of talking. It was time for action. It's time to make something happen. And so it was kind of a similar thing with Elevating Men. We've been having these conversations for 2 years. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can scroll and scroll and scroll. You'll see conversations about everything under the sun that relates to improving the lives of men. But we kind of reached a point where it's like, what are we going to talk about next week? We talked about that already. What are we going to talk about the week? We talked about that already too, right? And so it just kind of got to this point where it's like, you know what? We really need to pivot. We need to focus, and we need to really start taking all of these thoughts and ideas that we've been projecting and put them into action into our own lives. And so one day, I'm always taking in motivational content. I was listening to a video from Earl Nightingale. Google it, YouTube it. It's called the 30-Day Test. And in this video, he describes the plight of most men, which is we set these goals, especially when we're young. We say, hey, by the time I hit this age, I'm going to be a millionaire. By the time I get to this age, I'm going to be this person. And it's very rare that people actually hit those goals. And so he kind of goes through some of the reasons why. And so I took a couple notes here, and I'm going to take each note. There's about 3 of them, just 3 basic points. And I want to go through them one by one and have a little bit of a conversation. At the end of this, I want to invite every man that sees this to join our next 30-day test, which starts next Monday. Now, here's the irony. Next Monday happens to be Juneteenth, and that's a holiday that we celebrate because the slaves who had no idea that they were free finally got word that, hey, you are free. And with freedom, yeah, of course, there's a time to celebrate, but there also comes responsibility. And if we take that responsibility seriously, that means that there's action, there's work that needs to be done. And so Juneteenth, we're going to start our next 30-day challenge. For any men that want to be a part of it, just leave us your name and email address, and we'll put you into that group. I promise you it's going to be transformational. But these are the points from the video. The first one, I'm going to read this, so bear with me. All right. Our mission with this test is to identify and push beyond our limiting beliefs by utilizing the tools of hard work, consistency, accountability, support, and encouragement from our fellow brothers. Over the next 30 days, we'll do our very best to accomplish one specific goal by the end of the test. Now, the point 1 is we become what we think about. We become what we think about. So I know that many of you have probably seen, The Secret, and, you've seen, the Power of Thinking, and all of these positive thought books and seminars and things like that. This is actually putting it into practice, right? And so over the next 30 days, you'll commit to positive thinking and reawaken your imagination. You'll remind yourself that all things are possible. Now, when you become filled with disbelief and negative thoughts, you will force yourself to take a step towards your goal anyway. You must build the muscle of resisting doubt and negativity. Now, listen, this is important. If you can't seem to get yourself going, you will connect with one of your accountability partners and practice 3 things: transparency, vulnerability, and honesty. Together, you'll identify the mental block you're facing and use motivation and encouragement from your brother to push through. And so I want to stop there for a second. Anybody can jump in on this. Who has heard a guy say that, man, I'm here, but I would be here if I had a partner, if I had a crew, or if I had some guys that were rolling with me, but everybody around me seems to be full of crap, right? They don't want to do anything. They're not serious. They're not focused. They're not motivated. And it drags me down, right? And so we have a couple therapists on, and so I definitely want to get your opinion specifically. In your practice, when you have men that come to you, how often do you hear those types of sentiments about them needing support, from other men, or how much easier it may be if they had those types of relationships? No, I'll take either one.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. A lot of them don't even express that, like, the need for the companionship. They're just like that. I don't have anybody, and I don't know what to do, and they haven't even made that first step. I think is what I've heard of a lot with a lot of the men actually. It's they come to counseling and it's like, oh, you're the connection. It's like, no, you need real friends and accountability people who are there 24 hours a day. They're like gonna push you and support you, and so you can have that connection and that social support. Like, but some just don't even do that.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Jordan, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to build off that, I think um, those that do have people in their life, other men that they can count on, the friendships are not based oftentimes on those three principles that you described: uh, transparency, vulnerability, and honesty. It's typically, yeah, we hang out, we play the game together, or we go play pool, or shoot hoops together, or whatever the case might be. We ride together. If it's, I've had some clients that are in cycling groups and whatnot. But oftentimes these conversations where we're really getting into who we are, what we go through on a regular day-to-day basis, that space is often missing for a lot of men in their life. Uh, so they can't often, to Dalen's point, recognize that they're missing that, because sometimes they look and they'll say, like, yeah, I have people around me, but we don't do that. We don't talk about that stuff. We're watching the game. Then that's it.
We talk about money, cars, and clothes. That's what we talk about.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out here. It's just a thought, and I'm just kind of curious on what you guys think. For me personally, some of the most successful men that I know are a part of groups or organizations. They were either in the military, they're in fraternities, they're highly active in their church or some other form of a networking group. And so, Mike, brother Mike,
Yes.
what are your thoughts about association, like your association with other men, and how that can help elevate you?
Well, I believe association has to do with people and those that you have in common. And one of the things that I grapple with is that, to whom do I have something in common that stimulates my mind? And you have some people that want to be stimulated. You have some people that just, live and chill, and everything's another day. It's another day without having an objective. I tend to want to hang around people that have somewhat of a conversation that stimulates a conversation for me, because I don't like necessarily holding things in. I'm a people person. And so, like my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, at that time, it was good for me because I had some brothers that had the same lack of attainment. They were after getting their degrees and things like that such. But then there were other things, of course, we talked about the women and talked about the parties and the step shows and all that. But as I got older, it did not fit in to my way of thinking at that time, because I've matured past that point. So now at this age, I find it difficult to find a group of men of associations that just wants to hang out and talk about things of that matter, like Black history, talk about things in theology, our church, our faith, things that we need to deal with to make us better men at the ages that we are. You guys are in your 40s. Next week I'll be 62 years old. But I just find it difficult. That's why I like listening to Lauren and these young brothers, so I can digest where they are right now. But I want them to hear where I came from then. And so I think it's a good mesh, a good meat.
Love it, love it. Lojo, LeBron, either of you. LeBron, go ahead.
I'm saying, Loja, I'm gonna let you take this one real quick, brother, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So what came to mind is, you kind of started talking about, our friends and stuff like that, especially when we're younger, is model behaviors. I remember being a kid, seeing my uncles, and the model behavior was we get together and we play dominoes or we play spades. Like, it's all in trying to get away from the grind, from the troubles, and just be able to let loose and have fun. Bottles being passed around, different things like that. And so those model behaviors are essentially what we grow up to think is how we associate with our friends, So it's not that nature of, hey man, everything cool, you know, and not even recognizing when somebody like, yeah, man, I'm cool, man. Not recognizing that that tone in itself is, you know, something isn't right. And so neither side is really engaged in a growth process. It's all about the kick it. You know, it's all about just having fun and getting away from all the problems instead of having that circle where you can come to somebody and actually say, hey, man, you know, I'm going through something, you know, what are your thoughts? You know, or can I just, you know, can I vomit for a while and you just listen to me and just say nothing, but just kind of be somebody that I can lean on to just kind of express the way I feel. So I think it's important to change those model behaviors to show something different. Otherwise, our children or, you know, our nieces or our nephews will just simply repeat that same cycle because it will be model learned behaviors that they see as how they connect with, you know, their friends and their confidants and things of that nature.
And, see, and this is why that falls under you become what you think, because you tend to think based off of what you're around. And so, like you said, that model behavior, the people that you associate with, the people that you spend the most time with, it's going to reflect in your life in some way or another. And so you definitely want to be around positive people with positive energy that are going places and have a focus so that you guys can move forward together. LeRon, what are your thoughts?
You know, where it really helped me was, I mean, I think everybody really said it, is really just having someone who can help give me guidance, knowing that we're all on one accord, we're all on the same mission, we're all looking to move forward, we're all looking to become better versions of ourselves, and we just really want to all do right by our families and right by our lives and right. And it allowed me to have brothers that I can tell some of my most deepest hurts and pains, and they understood me. I never really expressed to a group of brothers where I broke down crying. Like, wow. And then they understand me. Ain't no judgment. They got me as a man. That was different. I've never experienced that. Is that when you put yourself intentionally in an environment like this, everybody's on one accord and on the same mission is to grow. And when you get around brothers like that, you have, look, it's impossible not to grow. It's not even about want to no more. You in it, you held yourself accountable. It's impossible. Whatever goal, whatever dream, whatever vision, whatever purpose that you're shooting for, when you have accountability partners, it helps you stay focused so you can achieve those things. And that's what it's done for me. I'm working with the most clients that I've ever worked with, ever. Never worked with as many clients I work with until I got somebody holding me accountable and to keep on plowing so I can get things done.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And see, this is the difference between friends and associates. This is one of the things that we talked about at the Man Cave Prayer Breakfast. If you are only able to talk about basketball, sports, clothes, money, girls, whatever, that may just be an associate, because a friend is someone, like LeRon said, hey, if I need to break down in tears and come to you about something serious, are you going to listen to me, not judge me? And are you going to help pull me through? Like, that's what it's all about. One thing that I want to ask you, LeRon, because you are a motivational speaker, you're a life coach, and you have probably the most energy out of anyone I know, like positive energy. You're always positive, man. And so to see you in a position where you were, I wouldn't say down, but you were reflecting in a way that caused you to say, like, man, like this is weighing heavy on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we say you become what you think, you train people how to have positive thoughts. And so therefore, I assume that that's part of how you're able to stay so positive. And so can you help me with that connection between staying positive, but the need to have other people carry you there?
Absolutely. See, when you left to the thoughts of your own mind and you have been thinking away for so long, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. It's hard to get yourself out of it. One thing I tell people is every coach needs a coach. All a coach is an accountability partner. Somebody who's skilled and gifted and know how to get you moving so you can do what you said you want to do and you need to do. And when you got that coach, they help move you. When you got accountability partners, they help move you in that direction. And I said the reason why most people are not moving in the direction they need to move because they don't have anybody that's holding them accountable in love and giving them direction and showing them. I'm telling you, it changed me for sure, brother. It changed me for sure. You got to be pushed. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame, bro. And once you realize that look, if you would have already known how to do it, you would have done it already. Hello, you would have already done it, but you haven't done it because you don't have anybody saying, "Listen, you said you were going to work. You said you're going to stop being lazy. You're going to stop making excuses." That's what I was doing. I was making excuses. Why wouldn't you have the money that you want to make? Because I was making excuses and I wasn't doing what I needed to do. So when you got somebody say, "Hey, you said this, do what you said you're going to do, point blank, period," it kind of commits you. It does commit you. And since then, that's why I'm working with the most clients I've ever worked with.
Congratulations, bro. Congratulations. We've got to address this comment. And so our brother Andrew Boykin Dinner and Dialogue, he said a lot of men, quote unquote, size you up just like they do the women they size up. What they are sizing or looking for is whether or not they think you can change their painful, unanswerable dilemma. And so I believe what he's saying, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe what he's saying is when we meet people, we're sizing up on whether they can help us in our situation or not, right? If I don't feel that you can pull me forward in any type of way, you may just fall in that associate category or someone that I pass by and give a head nod to and acknowledge versus someone that I truly connect with. Mike.
I have a question, and this happens in church, and this is happening right now. Why is it that we always focus on the downside of people? Because everybody's not always down. What can I do to have you around me to keep me lifted up in my time where I'm at my highest point? Why does all the conversation always have to be about down? When can somebody join and engage in a conversation where we've elevated and we're at that point? We're not quite there yet. We're so grateful. We can talk about, my soul looks back and wonder how I got over. Now I'm here. Let's talk about here. Forgetting those things that were behind me, not forgetting them, but not talking about the negative things all the time, but talking about the appreciation of how I made it to a point. I got a new job. I'm getting a new house. I got a new baby coming. I got a grandson coming. And my health is on point. And, this is what I did at the gym. And this is what I feel about this, man. And everything has a bright light to it, because wherever there's a shadow, always remember there's a light not too far behind. And so that's the way I want to think about things.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It takes me back to the prayer breakfast. And so for those of you that weren't there, we had a portion where we were talking about friends versus associates. And it got to a point where a lot of the men's comments started being, you really got to watch out for these guys. And, they're going to end up taking you down the wrong path. They're going to tell all your business and all these different things. And it kind of got to a point where it was like, wait a minute, stop. We're being negative right now. What about forgiveness, right? Because when it comes down to it, whatever grievances you have with someone, if you actually are honest and reflect and evaluate yourself, you'll realize that you've probably done some of the same things, maybe in a different way to somebody else. And so, you have to be able to forgive, to be able to move past those feelings that say, hey, all of my experiences are negative. This is why I stay by myself. This is why I'm standoffish. This is why I'm up in my own lane. This is why I don't deal with other people. Right. And as we're showing through this 30-day test, you actually need other people to get to your next level. Everything that you want, whether it's money, protection, friendship, fun, a shoulder to cry on, is going to involve another person. And so we have to get out of that negative mindset that says, hey, I'm the only one out here that's really trying to do anything positive. It's just me by myself. That is a lie, and it's arrogant. It's a very arrogant thought. And so what it takes actually is that vulnerability, transparency, and honesty that allows you to say, okay, I'm not perfect. So I know that this brother that I'm meeting isn't perfect either, right? But if we're willing to be honest with each other, be transparent, we can push through it and it can be a positive experience. And so I appreciate you bringing that to the table, Mike. Jordan, you had a comment?
Yeah.
Oh, you're kind of cutting out.
Am I good now?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. to just piggyback on what Mike was saying, I think that oftentimes people get hung up because of the pain that they've experienced from others. They start to focus in on what to watch out for, like you said, right? Uh, well, that skews your focus on the negative things. I gotta watch out for this. I gotta watch out for that. I gotta avoid people who do these things. You kind of create this running list in your mind. And what I found is both personally and in the work that I do with clients is it's just as important, if not more important, to shift that focus and say, okay, well, how am I going to know a good person when I see it that can come into the circle of influence? What am I actually looking for that would be beneficial for my life? And let's focus on, rather than avoiding these things and making this my radar, what can I do to make my radar the things I'm looking for that are positive? People who can be honest with me, people who are open and vulnerable, because sometimes we're looking at just what to avoid, and then we're missing sometimes the people that are around us or in our life that are showcasing the positive qualities we would like to see, or we're not even looking at it. So I think that's a really helpful thing is if you're going to make that list of, watch out for the snakes and stuff, then you also have to know when, I don't know what the opposite of a snake would be in this situation or this analogy, but you also have to know, a safe person when you see it too. And sometimes people don't know what that looks like. So that's important to think about.
You get what you focus on. What you focus on is what comes to you. And so if you're always worried about and thinking about all these negative people, guess who's going to be in your life? Right. LaRon.
I just wanted to just say, add a comment on it, which you just said again, and you keep making this statement, whatever you think, that's what you're going to get. And if my favorite book says, seek and you shall find. If you seek negative things, you'll find negative things. If you seek positive things, you'll find positive things. Whatever it is you seek, you will find. And that's really all about perception, perspective. You'll find what you seek. And that's why we just really got to get in circles to where we're seeing the positive things, the light. Stop being so skeptical. We're skeptical of so many people. Give people a chance. Yeah, people got doubt. People, and nobody's right. We're not right. Come on. Everybody has dysfunctions. But you got to give people a chance and be willing to open up, because the only way that the healing is going to come to your life is if you are vulnerable. If you got the shell on and nobody can get through it, you're going to be in that shell by yourself. Nobody getting in, nobody getting out. And that's not a life I don't think anybody wants to deal with.
I love it. Before we go any further, definitely have to shout out some people in the comment section. Boy, I have missed being on here. I'm not going to lie. Ryan Harvey, thanks for tuning in, bro. We definitely appreciate you. Check him out. Follow him on all your social media. Ryan S. Harvey. The strongest man in the room is his brand. I don't know if I would call him a motivational speaker. He's an inspiration. I'll just say that. He does so many things. Very talented brother. So make sure you follow him. Melvin Lamont Brown. Always love to see you. Appreciate your support. Kareem Jackson. I gotta give some congratulations here real quick. Kareem Jackson, he's out in the Philippines. He's the owner of Black Kansas City Magazine. He is in the middle of his first film. And so very exciting times for him. We appreciate your support, and we're definitely rocking with you till the end, brother. Let's see. There's a point here, Andrew said, and if I wish he could come on, because I know he has a way of wording things, right? And so I'm just going to try my best. But he said, many people are looking for versus looking to give. Think about that for a second. Like, let that sink in. Most people are looking for instead of looking to give, right? And so we go into these potential relationships with a what's in it for me focus, right? That type of focus puts off a certain energy, right? And so when you meet someone, you're trying to figure out what you can extract from them. Like, is this the person to get me to my next level? Do they have the connection? Is this the person that has the money? Is this the person? It sets the wrong intention. And so under that ground, you can't create a fertile, fruitful relationship. And it causes both of you to pause, right? Because that person feels like you're trying to get something from them. And so they're closed and trying to hold on to what they have.
Yeah.
And then now you feel rejected because you aren't getting what you were trying to take from them. versus coming into the relationship or into the situation saying, hey, like I'm looking for someone that I can connect with, that I can be a friend with. You know, I've got these resources, or, you know, I've got this talent or this skill that I want to share with a group of people. It's a completely different mindset, and it definitely gives you completely different results. Yeah, hey, bro, dinner dialogue. He said, Ryan, that video is fire. He's talking about the strongest man in the room, Men Hill Conference from Lifted KC. Go and watch that video. Go and watch that video. It's very powerful.
Somebody
Very
post
powerful.
that link. Somebody post the link.
Yeah, Andrew, if you got the link, post it in the comment section. Ryan, if you're still watching, please post that link. Definitely want some people to see that. Now, Lauren, you have something that you wanted to say before we move on? Or no, Lauren, I'm sorry, Lauren.
I think both of us did. I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to that looking for. I think a lot of times, and I don't even know if we realize it and just go into things selfishly, or we don't realize it, but we're looking for somebody to save us. And so when that person doesn't, make us feel like we have that they have that savior complex, then we just move on, because we're always looking for somebody to save us instead of listening for certain things, because the answer is always inside of us. Like, we can save ourselves. The answer is always inside of us. And we're looking for somebody else to do our job instead of us doing our job. And so when we get away from looking for someone to save us, we just kind of become this sponge where we're just absorbing everything. And I often have found that I can learn something from everybody if I am just actively listening and we're just having that back and forth dialogue. I can learn from anybody. You could be talking to a crackhead. You could be talking to, some super smart Harvard graduate or somebody on Wall Street. It doesn't matter. As long as you go into that interaction not having expectations, right? We set these expectations, and then when they let us down and we mad at them, instead of being like, well, why did I even set that expectation for either somebody I didn't even know or somebody that I really wasn't that connected to anyway? And so I think it's super important for us to understand that, it is our job to help ourselves, to save ourselves. And if we stop going into these interactions with expectations that person is going to be our savior, you'll actually get something out of it.
Wow, wait a minute. Jordan, you just typed something in the private chat in relation to what Lauren was talking about. Can you expound on that a little bit? And I'll read it for you. It says, people often don't want the responsibility to understand, so they trade understanding for faith and then put that faith in other people who say they understand. Like, that is deep. What, can you expound on that a little bit?
What's crazy is I was talking to a client this morning of mine, and he actually shared this quote with me today, which is wild. So I literally went to our email exchange and pulled this up and typed it up, because what we were talking about was this concept of ignorance being bliss. So this is a client I've been working with for going on like 3 years now. And he's gone through this whole evolution of coming to therapy with a misconception that he was going to come to a couple sessions, I was going to fix him, he was going to be good, and then that would be it, right? And over time, I was able to help him like reframe his expectations and understand that, like, this is not how therapy works. You're kind of going to save yourself. I'm going to give you some tools. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to offer perspective. And at certain points through that journey, he had moments where he was like, man, things are getting worse before, things are getting worse. I'm learning more. We're digging deeper. But I just keep finding that now life is harder. It's harder now that I have this understanding of myself and my perspective and my history and my past, because now it brings everything up to the surface, right? And you can't ignore it anymore. So I was explaining to him that, like, yeah, there's a responsibility and there is a burden that comes with this level of understanding that you get through therapeutic self-exploration. And for a lot of people, that is hard. Some people get to that point where we start to scratch the surface and dig a little bit deeper, and they go, whoa, this this is too much, and they run from that. And I get why, because as someone who, as a therapist, there's a responsibility that comes from understanding. I can't just cause harm and act like I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I know exactly the processes that go on that cause me to hurt people, that cause me to, get triggered and lash out and project onto others. I can't run from that anymore. And there's a responsibility that comes with that some people don't want to take on. And so it kind of speaks, that was just coming up for me as I was listening to Lauren talk. It kind of spoke to what I was literally talking about, 12 hours prior today. It's kind of crazy, full circle.
Full circle. Isn't it crazy how we expect more from other people than we expect from ourselves? Like we say we're going to do something and we don't, and it's like, I'll do it next time. But if someone makes a commitment to us and they don't follow through, it's like, man, I'm done with them. Right? I'm done with them. Pastor Brooks, the Oasis Church, if you're looking for a church home, I'm only recommending two. That's Pastor Brooks and the fit pastor right here. He says, especially expecting preachers to be the end all be all. We just lead you to faith. Appreciate the comment, and make sure that you guys come and attend the next Man Cave Prayer Breakfast. It's going to be the second Saturday in July. We definitely want to see you there. And so, for those of you who are late to the conversation, we're talking about the 30-day test that we just did in May as a group, Elevating Men, Men's Wellness Collective. And the 30-day test is all about training your mind to be able to focus on one goal and actually seeing it through until the end. There was something that just came up that Jordan said, and LaRon, I want to ask you this question. Sometimes there's like a bit of a breakdown right before a breakthrough, right? And you shared earlier that in one of our calls during the 30-day test, there was a certain amount of emotion that you felt, right? But immediately after that, you took off. The next conversation, you were like, hey, Andrew, I got another client and another client and another client, right? And so can you speak to that breakdown before the breakthrough? Because I just feel like someone is listening and they're at that point of breakdown. Can you just kind of tell them how you transition into a breakthrough?
I was ready and I got tired of complaining. I know that I was the reason why things wasn't happening. It was already understood. You're the reason why things are not happening. All you got to do is what you already know to do. And just confessing, you know what? There's areas that hurt that you want to admit. Like, you need to get yourself organized with being balanced with your children. Understanding, look, everything, I'm not going to be able to give my time to every single thing. So you got to be able to balance that. And admitting that certain areas of my life, I'm not balanced in. And understanding that, look, it's okay. It's understandable. You're not going to be balanced everywhere. And so being able to look at myself, admit to myself, confess to myself, forgive myself for not being all that I believed that I was and I could be. By being able to do that, it gave me a breakthrough. It allowed me to know, listen, yeah, you want to be the best father. You want to be the best husband. You want to motivate the world and anyone who you influence. You want to impact their lives so that they believe that they have greatness within them. You want to be all that. But at the end of the day, you got to start one step at a time. And so that right there, building my business to bring more financial income to my family, is what I said. It's number one for me. I need to focus on that so I can build this thing. So that's what got me more clients. I said, I'm going to do it because I'm not worried about nothing else. I need to bring in. I'm going to do it for my family.
Love it. Thank you. Lojo.
So that was a holy shit moment for all of us, right? That was a moment that honestly brought us together. Like, it genuinely did. Like, that breakdown wasn't just for LaRon. That breakdown was for all of us to be like, holy shit. Like, we are connecting with each other in a way that we didn't even know we were connecting with each other. And that really, in a lot of ways, fortified a lot of what we're doing. It said that, because everything has to start from within. We can go out and we can speak to the masses, but we're fake if it doesn't start from within. And that was one of those moments that allowed me to be like, okay, Like we were fortifying who we are as a group of men that understand each other. That because we could have been like, hey, we gotta go. We gotta go. Hey, it was good talking to you, but we didn't. We sat there and we allowed it to happen. And then when he was done, we were, hey, thank you for that. Is there anything further we can do? It wasn't us walking away. It wasn't us avoiding that emotion, because emotion for men is confrontational. And so it wasn't us walking away from that, but it was us walking into it and being like, okay, our brother needs us now. How can we pour more? How can we pour more, not only into him, but into each other? Because I didn't, in that moment, I didn't have anything to be sad about. It brought me to the point of tears, but it helped me to understand that I was around a group of men that if and when I get to that point, I'm good, I'm safe. I don't have to hide from my pain. I don't have to hide from what's hurting me in that moment, because these guys are going to understand me and they're going to lift me up even more.
Man, I love it. I love it. This is what it's all about. I don't know if I even share this with you guys, but I got tired of the word show, right? I know this might sound kind of crazy, but it was like, oh, we got a show Monday. What are we going to talk about on the show? Like the show, and, the stages and, the outward appearances and, projecting, hey, this is what we know. This is what we think. These are our thoughts. But not taking that time to really solidify our bond and work together and do the inner work was starting to bother me. Honestly, it was starting to bother me. And so I feel completely different over the course of the 30-day test. I got to share with you, I had some major wins in the month of May, and they're rolling over into the month of June. It was absolutely amazing. And so I'm telling you, like, I'm asking each of you guys on here live, I'm putting you on the spot. After this, I need you to identify 5 men that you can invite to the next 30-day test. 5 men. 5 men.
I got my 5 lined up, because when I was talking about it, I had people that were like, oh man, how do I get in? And I'm like, we'll get you in on the next one. So I already got 5 that are ready to tap in.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next point. So what we were talking about, 30-day test, improving your life, 30 days, right? And so the first point was we become what we think about. And in that section, what we learned is we have to keep positive thoughts. If we want positive things, we need positive thoughts. But to maintain positive thoughts, you need positive people around you. Simple as that. So point 2, we all desire something and we're all afraid of something. I'm just going to read a quick paragraph. And this is literally from the Elevating Men 30-day test. This is the conversation we had. We all desire something and we're all afraid of something. Ironically, in many cases, the very things that we desire are also what we're afraid of. Here's the definition of the word desire: a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. Pay attention, because you can get lost in this. If we're currently desiring something, there's inherently an action that must be taken to obtain it. The question is, why aren't we taking action on the things we're wanting and wishing for? Like, why are we sitting and want and wish when all we have to do is take action? It is because we're riddled with fear and disbelief. We're afraid of the work. We're afraid of failing. We don't believe we can do it. We don't believe it will happen. We are afraid and we don't believe. Those are the 2 things that we struggle with. This is our general state as human beings, but we can improve. So in this challenge, you'll clearly define one major goal that'll push your life forward and commit to tackling the fears that are keeping you from taking the necessary action to obtain it. Again, for this challenge, you will focus only on one desire and on one goal. You'll write down your one desire in detail and review it every morning and every night before you go to bed without fail for the next 30 days. And so fear and disbelief causing you to not take action. I gotta go to Mike Patton. I gotta go to Mike Patton. I see you guys too, but I gotta go to Brother Mike, man. I gotta go to Brother Mike just because of some of the conversations we have offline. What is it about that fear and disbelief that causes us not to move forward, Mike?
Well, these are my 5 complexes, and I want to share this with you, and I want you to write this down. Whenever you have a vision, whenever you want to have a breakthrough, you want to, first of all, you want to have a situation where you're clear, you're concise, you're compelling, consistent, and committed. You have to be clear about the things that you really want to do. You have to be concise as to, is it obtainable? Is this what I want to do? Compelling, what am I going to really put in it? And then I have to be consistent. So there's a 4-point D point that goes along with that. I happen to have a desire, a discipline, a dedication, and the determination. And then the 5th C is I got to be committed. And that's the part that I want to hang around people who can bring about clarity, that's concise, that don't grapple or double-minded, somebody that's compelling, that draws me in, somebody that's consistent, going and doing something on a consistent basis, and that they're committed. And so I think if we really look into that inner mind of us and we're clear about what we want, we're concise, we have that desire, but there's a discipline, there's a dedication and determination, but we're compelling, we're consistent and committed about it. I think those are some of the steps that we can use in order not to put our best foot forward instead of now slipping down the deep holes and dark ditches behind us. That's what I would say.
Love it, love it. I saw Dalen and LaRon. Dalen, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. If you could just jot down your thought, LaRon, because I don't want you to lose it. I know it's
Mike
great.
said it all, man. Mike said it all. We good.
All right. Dalen.
Yeah. So I actually kind of made me think about our most recent podcasts on the Men's Wellness Collective, of hearing of like the desire and the fear, that they're like basically tied together. So initially there's probably a fear that's going to show up. So something of like, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not, intelligent enough, or something like that. So you have this desire to kind of overcome that fear. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to study and I'm going to do well in school, and I'm going to read, and I'm going to cover up this fear with this desire. I'm going to formulate myself around this desire so I can get away from this fear. And I think sometimes we do forget that fear, that like it can be the motivator. It can be what you're running away from. It can be something that's actually like a helpful tool. I think so often like we hear about fear and it's like, we got to overcome that. We got to get rid of it. It needs to go away. It's bad. It's like, it doesn't have to be bad. We can use the fear to our advantage and actually bring it with us on the journey, so it helps us get further to that desire, because just the desire itself isn't going to be enough fuel for the fire. You need that fear to help fuel that along the way.
Yeah, like, say, I don't know, man, like there's a pile of money like over there.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna run like as fast as you can, but I guarantee you, like if somebody lets a lion out of the cage and is chasing you, you're probably gonna find like a little extra speed to get away from that lion. And so sometimes our fears are actually more powerful than our desires, and so it's important to have both. I read something, I can't remember where, I was going to try to quote the author, but he actually said that you do need both, right? The most motivated you'll ever be is if you're running towards something and simultaneously running away from something. And so that may be the life that you don't want. Like, hey, I'm afraid of going backwards. I'm afraid of not being able to support my family. And so it pushes me forward, while at the same time I have a desire to obtain the vision that I have, the lifestyle that I want, the things that I want my children to have. And so both of those things most definitely can work together hand in hand. Absolutely. Jordan.
Dalen said it so good, but it made me think of what we talk about in our men's group, Man Up to Your Emotions, right? Fear is just an emotion. So when you understand that all emotions are signals for a need, what you start to understand is exactly how Dalen put it. The fear oftentimes is what's fueling the desire. So fear is an emotion that signals to us that we need safety. And when we're feeling that fear, if you know that, you can ask yourself the question of, well, what would make me feel safe? And that oftentimes is going to point you right in the direction of the thing you most desire. So I just wanted to point that out, because the two go hand in hand. Whenever you feel fear, it's because you don't feel safe. What will make you feel safe oftentimes is going to be what you want, what you desire.
That's good.
Love it. Love it. Any other thoughts on that? There's just 2 more quick points. We're almost coming to the end of our time. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that portion? Great, great, great. So the last 2, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of run these 2 together for the sake of time. The third point for the 30-day test is that you have to recognize you are currently in your own acre of diamonds. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. You are currently in your own acre of diamonds. What do I mean by that? There's a book called Acres of Diamonds. And essentially this person is going out and he's searching for diamonds. He's trying to obtain wealth and all of that. The diamonds were right in his backyard, but he never really dug through his own yard searching for the diamonds. And so in this 30-day test, what we encourage is for you not to go so far outside of the realm of where you are to identify something exactly where you are right now. And so the 30-day test doesn't have to be you starting some brand new business. Maybe it's you focusing on the business that you already have and going a little bit deeper, right? It may not be about, going out and developing these new friendships and connections. Maybe you need to go a little deeper with the friends and the connections that you already have. Everything that you have is already at your fingertips. Everything that you need to build the life that you want is right in front of you already. Ask yourself a question and be honest and transparent. Are you going deep enough where you are to find those actual diamonds? Right. And then the fourth point is your returns in life will be in direct proportion to what you are willing to give. And so again, the returns that you get in life are going to be in direct proportion to what you are willing to give. Nothing comes to a lazy man, right? And so if you aren't willing to give any effort, don't expect to get any reward, whether that's in a relationship, a business, your health, anything else. I know Mike could probably tell you better than anybody when it comes to, working out and, trying to get in shape or trying to get your health under control. If you're not willing to give anything, you shouldn't expect much, right? And so dig where you are, because everything you need is already around you. And you're not going to get anything more than you're willing to give, right? And so those were the points that we wanted to really carry in our minds over the course of this 30-day test to help push us through. And so I'm just going to recap them really quick. We'll wrap up the conversation. And then I want to invite every man that hears this conversation to join us in our next 30-day test, which starts next Monday on Juneteenth. And so these are the 4 points. 1, we become exactly what we think about. And to overcome those negative thoughts when they arise, you need positive people around you. 2, we all desire something and we're all afraid of something. And so you have to find what's causing you fear and what's causing you motivation and combine those 2. Run away from your fears as fast as you can and run towards exactly what it is that you desire. Point 3, you're currently standing in your own acre of diamonds. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to do anything other than dig deeper exactly where you are right now. And point 4, the returns that you can expect to get from this 30-day test are going to be in direct proportion to what you're willing to give it, right? If you give it your all, you can get everything from it. And so I invite, again, everyone to join us in this 30-day test. I believe that everyone needs to do it, right? You have goals, you have dreams, you have aspirations. Commit for 30 days to focus on that one goal and join a support group like Elevating Men so that you have other people who are doing the exact same thing that can push and encourage you and make your dreams become a reality. Now, I do want to go ahead and fast forward a little bit. I haven't really shared this with you guys. You guys have probably heard it because we talk a lot. But the next phase of this is the intentional year. The intentional year to transform your life. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some planning. And if you can't get through 30 days, you definitely can't get through 365, right? And so this is just a warm up. And guess what? The intentional year is a warm up for your business plan for life, right? What major corporation do you know that doesn't have a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan? But we want to have these big, major, grandiose lives. We want to have millions of dollars and flashy cars and a big house and successful children and all these things. But we're not even planning past next week, right? And so we're starting off with a 30-day test. We want to get as many men as possible on this 30-day test, moving forward, lock and step, improving our lives. The next step will be for us to create an intentional year of transformation. And then from that, we want to create our business plan for life and be able to stick through it. I'm off my soapbox. Guys, any thoughts, any words, any comments?
I would love to invite you all to one of my services at my church, 7405, the Paseo Love and Unity Christian Fellowship Ministries. And let me know, because I want to be able to express some things that I believe from, that I don't believe, that I know that will help you in your spirit life. And I so appreciate brothers like Dalen and Lauren and these guys that take their occupation, and then the other brother, I forgot it, John, I think it is, that these are all therapists, and I so appreciate what you do, because your place in life is something all that we need, and it helps put the pieces together that have fallen, that have been distant, that have been broken and sometimes shattered. But I, as a pastor, I tend to believe that all things work together for the good to them that love God according to his purpose. And so I want to be able to share one Sunday that you all come now from that particular perspective, praise and worship. And I know in my life, when I praise God and I worship him, I have a sense of peace at that time and moment that comes over me, and it blankets me like I was out in the cold, but someone now put a blanket and warmed me when I seem to be distant in my thoughts and my emotions. And it's something about the presence of him and presence of people worshiping around me that makes me feel now I'm a part of something that God made and created, and I'm not just all by myself. And the worst thing to do is get into this. Well, that's why I talked about transcendental meditation, and I don't want to get off subject matter, but it's a point now. I grapple a lot of times with stress, which brings about depression. So now when I put it to the altar and I leave it there, for at least that moment, I seem to be free. So how now do I put that into my life and my everyday way of life? I have to pray, and I have to have someone to talk to. And when I don't have Lauren, and I have AJ, and I don't have all these brothers to talk to, I got Jesus. I got a God that I can talk to release these things that are uneasy, and release these things that are stormy and issues in my life. And so I just want to share that with you. And I love you, brothers, so much for your comments. You guys just are a major inspiration to me. And I just want to let you know that.
You inspire us as well. You inspire us as well, Mike, for sure. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a big part of learning is unlearning. We spend a lot of time living our lives based off of what we assume we know, the way we've grown up, what we think we know. And I think unlearning is so important because what it allows us to do is it allows us to expand the way we think. It allows us to see things from a different perspective. And that was a lot of the biggest piece of the 30-day challenge for me. It was unlearning what I thought I knew. It was looking at, some of the people that were around me that I probably wasn't given the time of day, and being like, hey, just let me just open up some quick dialogue and just see what happens. The worst thing that's going to happen is nothing. Like, that's the worst thing that was going to happen. And you know what? Maybe you wasted a few minutes, maybe you didn't. But I think unlearning is so important. Go into every situation wanting to absorb, wanting to be a sponge, wanting to listen twice as much as you speak, and you will gain so many new perspectives that you'll just be. I mean, you'll literally say to yourself, you'll give yourself the Fred Sanford, you call yourself a big dummy because you weren't willing before then to get out of your own comfort zone, get out of your own place of knowledge to pick up something new. You know, the cliche, you can't teach your old dog new tricks. Hey man, kick that to the curb. You know, expand yourself by unlearning, and that will take you so many places that you never imagined you would go.
Hey, since we're getting ready to close out, I know Mike, he promoted the church. He did mention, for those of you that don't know, he's also a personal trainer. And so if you have any fitness goals, if you're trying to, I mean, it's already summertime, summer's here, but if you're trying to tighten it up a little bit before you go to the beach, make sure you get with Brother Mike over here. Lojo, tell him a little bit about your business real quick, and then we'll just go around before we wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Lopez Boys Auto Sales, that is where you will find me during the daytime. So if you are in need of a quality pre-owned vehicle, reach out. Even if I can't help you personally, I will point you in the right direction of somebody that can help you out because my network is huge. And so there's always somebody that if I personally can't help you, I can point you to somebody that can get you taken care of. So Lopez Boys Auto Sales, check it out.
Jordan, Men's Wellness Collective. Tell them, where can they hear the podcast? When does it go down? And just any closing thoughts that you have.
Dalen, I'll plug the pod and then I'll let Dalen talk about the upcoming group for the summertime. So the Men's Wellness Collective podcast, we put out episodes. We shoot for weekly on Friday. Sometimes it pushes to Saturday. Just depends on scheduling, but we're trying to come at you with something once a week. You can find that on Apple, Spotify, I think we're on Amazon, like anywhere you stream podcasts, any of the major podcasting platforms, you can find it. Again, it's the Men's Wellness Collective podcast. Would love for people to check that out. We try to bring a lot of good conversations from a therapeutic perspective related to a lot of things that men go through. So we touch relationships, identity work. We talk about suffering, depression, goals, anything under the sun. So would love for people to subscribe, share it with other men in your life that you care about and that you know. So
thanks, appreciate it. Dalen, share about the upcoming men's group and as well as your practice. Definitely give the information on that as well.
Yeah. So my personal practice should be pretty easy to find. It's just Dalen Burney Counseling. There's only one of me in the world, so if you Google me, you will probably find me. So reach out to me if you're curious about counseling or just have any questions. And kind of like what Lojo said, even if it's not for, I'm not the fit and I can't help you, I can help point you in the direction of someone who can. If any way I can help someone get into therapy, I'm willing to do that. But as mentioned, we have two men's groups starting this summer. Me and our colleague and friend, Caleb Badegoke. We're doing our third round of Man Up to Your Emotions. That's going to start on July 11th, and that is a 12-week psychoeducational and psychoeducational group, or psychoprocessing. So the first 6 weeks, we're going to take a deep dive on what are your emotions? Where did you learn them? We're going to talk to you about attachment style and the cognitive triangle and some kind of base tools of how to understand how your emotions function and what to do with that and where that comes from. So a little bit of background, a little bit of context. And then the last 6 weeks, we're going to take a deep dive on each emotion for 1 week. So, the week 6, we're going to talk about anger. And that's all we're going to talk about this entire time. How do you feel that? Where did that come from? How did you learn those messages? So this going to be a group of men sharing that experience and kind of being that vulnerable and connecting to each other in that way. So that'll start July 11th, and that's 12 weeks. And then also that same week on July 15th on Saturdays, every second and fourth Saturday of the month, for now until we decide to stop doing it. It's just an open group, so anyone can come. You can come once. You can come every single time. And that one's just $20 for any time you want to drop in. But if you go to my website, you can email me. I can shoot you those flyers. So if you're interested or know anyone who would be interested, reach out to me and I can pass you that information and I can give it to AL. And they can share those flyers on their Facebook and all that stuff.
Love it.
Hey,
Thank
hey,
you.
who is Caleb Odego K? I know Mookie. You talking about Mookie?
Yeah.
So we're doing government names tonight.
Rodrigo.
Oh man. L Beasy, talk to us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So check this out. If you need an accountability partner, if you need a spiritual mentor, if you know that you were given a vision, is great, it's huge, you know you're not doing the things you need to do to accomplish that thing, I want you to reach out to me. If you want a closer relationship with God, you're not hearing God as clear as you want to. You need Him to lead you. You want to put Him number one in your life because you know that that's the only way that everything's going to align for your life. I want you to reach out to me. Look, it's time to move you and put you in position so that you can fulfill the calling you were given. And that's what we're basically going to do. If that's you and you are ready, you're like seriously ready, you're tired of the extra stuff that you've been allowing to hold you back, the fear, anxiety, low self-esteem, all that extra bull crap. If you're ready to get over that and you're ready to live in your vision, live in the future, live in the things that God has promised you, reach out to me and let's start making it happen.
Definitely,
Hey,
definitely.
check your phone, LaRon. I sent you one. I sent you a contact. Check your phone after later.
Sure will.
Love it, love it. So like this is kind of like sad, but it's happy at the same time. And the reason I say that is because Elevating Men isn't, we're not coming to you every Monday anymore. And we definitely miss it. But it's time for us to take action. Right. It's time for us to take action. And so you will be seeing us. Definitely stay tuned to the page. We'll let you know when we have a show coming. We're definitely still here, but there's a lot of work that we have to do amongst ourselves. And sometimes it's important for you to just really close off, shut some of those external things down and get focused. And that's what this is all about. And so again, we're starting our 30-day test. Again, this is the second round of our 30-day test. And each round, we're going to get better and better. We're going to get closer and closer to our goals until we reach a point where we're ready for the next step, which is setting up that intentional year. And so if you want to come along on this journey with us, inbox anyone that you see on this panel. Just say, hey, I want to be a part of the 30-day test. We'll put you in the group. And I promise you, if you stick to it, it's something that can absolutely transform your life. We got some things going on offline too. So like I said, stay tuned. There's a lot of things happening. If you have or have access to, I have a quick ask. We've partnered with another nonprofit called Hold 'Em Up for Care. We're going to be doing a clothing drive for young men that are going to prom and homecoming and all these different things next school year. We want to make sure that they're going and they're looking their best so they can have great confidence. We see these things for the young ladies, but we rarely see it for the young men. And so we're looking for donations, whether it's ties, suits, socks, underwear, suspenders, belts, everything that they need. We're going to be providing that in conjunction with Hold 'Em Up for Care. Ryan S. Harvey is actually a part of this project as well. There's a couple of events that we are working on in the background. And so don't lose sight of us. Just because we're not here every Monday doesn't mean that we aren't active. And so stay connected to Elevating Men. Stay tuned. We have a lot happening to build our community. Now, as far as me personally, when I'm not doing Elevating Men and I'm not dealing with my kids and all that, I'm a life insurance agent. I'm the owner of A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency. And so if you want to protect your family and not only protect them in the form of taking care of a funeral, but building generational wealth, visit aljohnsonlifeinsurance.com. I'd be happy to help you. But thanks all of you for tuning in, and we will see you again next time. Stay tuned.